All right, so now we're going to talk about evaluating with exponents. And when you see the word evaluating, that just means plugging stuff in. It's in the dictionary. Look it up. It says plugging stuff in. No, but that's what you're trying to do. So in this situation, let's say you had this equation and you wanted to find how much this would be if x equaled 4 or something like that, which means that you're going to have to plug the 4 in for the x. So it essentially look like this. Y equals 2 times 3, and then, of course, the 4 goes there, the fourth power. So now, I'm not going to do this math because you're going to have to multiply exponents, all this kind of weird stuff. So I'm going to go over to the calculator, and I'm going to type this in exactly the way that I see it. So here, you've got 2, and then in parentheses, you put the 3. And then if you remember, this caret button gives you that exponent. It actually raises up the number. So we want it to be a 4, right? So you hit caret, and you'll see the little box actually raise up there, and then you hit the 4. And so if you look closely, it'll look something like this. Now, if I hit enter, I get 162, and that's what we're looking for. 162. Let's try this other one. This other one is a little bit more difficult because now look at what we have. We have a fraction, and nobody likes fractions, but I'll show you how to put that in there. Hopefully you guys remember that a fraction symbol actually means divide. This is literally saying 1 divided by 2. That's what it's literally saying. So if I were to, let's say, do the same thing where x equals 4, I would then, in my calculator, I'd have a 6,000 and then the 1/2, and then I'd have a little 4 right there. So let's see what that would look like if I plug that into the calculator. So I have 6,000, and then in parentheses, remember a fraction is division. So I would actually go, instead of 1/2, I would type 1 divided by 2. That's what a fraction is right there. That's a fraction of 1/2. And then the caret, of course, is a 4. So you have that exponent. And so you have something that looks like this. 6,000 and then 1/2 to the fourth power. Hit enter, and you get 375. So that's right here, 375. Okay, but what you're going to be doing is slightly different. Actually, it's a lot different. So you're not only going to be getting exponents, but you're going to have to fill in the tables, which means you see these are 5 x values. Basically, this says this. And you have to plug each one in separately to get the y to the right. So you really got to do this problem 5 times. Okay, so let's figure this out. If we go onto the calculator over here, we know that the first thing we have is a 0, which would basically mean y equals 2 and then 4 to the 0 power. Let's plug that in and see what that looks like. 2, 4 to the 0 power. You can see that right there. I'll just bring it in closer for you. 2 times 4 to the 0 power, you hit that, and the answer is 2. So then you fill that into the table, 2. Now you're going to do the next equation, which is 2 and then times 4, but this time you're plugging in this x, so to the first power. So we go back over to our calculator, and we have 2 and then 4 to the first power. Enter. I can't read that. 8. 8. And then we plug in the next x, which is 2. Y equals 2 times 4 to the second power. Go back over to the calculator. 2 times 4 to the second power. Enter. 32. And then we plug in 2 times 4 to the third power. So let's see what that looks like. 2 times 4 to the third power, 128. And lastly, 2 times 4 to the fourth power, because we have our x's right there. So 2 to the fourth power, boom, 512. And that's how you do this particular problem. Now, on the right side, of course, you would do the same thing. You would basically plug in the numbers. So like, for example, here you'd have y equals 12, 15, and then 1/3 to the 0 power. So that would be very important. And then I'll just do this one real quick. So you have 12, 15, and then, of course, the 1/3 we remember from before, that is a fraction. 1 divided by 3 is a division, and then, of course, to the 0 power. And so you get this 12, 15. And so you go down the line, and you fill in each number as you go. So the goal is to fill in every single number in the table, and then you can actually be done. But you have to do it a bunch of times, but that's just kind of the way it works.